Okay, well, speaking of dividing and conquering our society, we got to move it along here because we do want to get to our out there today. But speaking of dividing and conquering our society, I can't let this pass without playing a clip for you. This is where critical race theory leads us to. And if you wondered about this critical race theory thing that we're hearing that they're teaching in schools, among many other things they shouldn't be teaching and opening our kids' minds to, like a lot of the pornographic books that they put in the libraries now for the kids to find and read and learn about things they shouldn't be learning about at their age. Well, this critical race theory is probably the most insidious of all of the things that they're teaching because it's a divide and conquer strategy, and it's teaching our kids that you're nothing more important than the color of your skin. In fact, that is the sole defining characteristic of your life. And by the way, if you're white, you are a victimizing oppressor, an evil person. And if you're not white, you are good and a part of the solution. But first, to accomplish this solution, we got to get rid of all those evil white people, right? I mean, don't you see where this is leading us to? Talk about how these genocides get started. It gets started by programming people with poison like this critical race theory stuff. Now, here's a person who's an actual college professor at Rutgers, no podunk institution up there in New Jersey, Rutgers University. And this lady, Dr. Brittany Cooper, is a professor of women's gender and sexuality studies, which I didn't realize was actually something you could get a degree in. It's kind of like I thought art history was the one that you wanted to get the degree in if you really wanted to have a useless degree. But I think this has got to have taken the place of art history now. If you can get a degree in women's gender and sexuality studies, I mean, that can't be useful anywhere except dividing and conquering people along lines like gender and race and sex like they're trying to do. Now, this lady, wouldn't you believe it, goes by Professor Crunk on Twitter, and what an appropriate moniker for her. I got to get to the clip now. We're not going to have enough time to run it, so listen to Professor Crunk here.
I think that white people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? The real sort of issue here, and I've heard people sort of say it, is one, I think that white people viscerally fear. It's not that white people don't know, right, what they have done. They know. They fear that there is no other way to be human but the way in which they are human, which is to, so, like you talk to white people and whenever you really want to have a reckoning about it, they say stuff like, it's just human nature. If y'all had all of this power, you would have done the same thing, right? And it's like, no, that's what white humans did. White human beings thought there's a world here and we own it. Prior to them, Black and brown people have been sailing across oceans, interacting with each other for centuries without total subjugation, domination, and colonialism. We have seen what a show this iteration of treatment of other human beings means, and that my hope is that we would do it differently in the moments when we have some power. We will not do it perfectly, but I do think that all of us can sort of agree that a politics that says like there are superior and inferior human beings just isn't the way to go. And that's the thing that white people don't trust us to do because they are so corrupt. Their thinking is so morally and spiritually bankrupt about power that they can't they fear viscerally, existentially letting go of power because they cannot imagine that there's another way to be. It is either that you dominate or you are dominated. And isn't it sad that is spiritually who they are and that they can't imagine a sort of more expansive notion of the
Here we go.
The thing I want to say to you is we got to take these motherfuckers out. But we can't say that, right?
I guess not. I guess you shouldn't be saying that. But don't you hear? I mean, it's just so amazing, the duality in her own mind, the doublethink that she's able to engage in where she's saying we don't want to have one part of society oppressing the other, but we got to get rid of these white people. We've got to get rid of these born evil, these spiritually impure others, these white people that are the source of all of our problems collectively as a society. And they can't be fixed. I mean, white people are like pedophiles. They can't be fixed, right? We have to eliminate them. We've got to get rid of these. And I'm glad the bleeping there covered it, Pat George, so we didn't have to dump on that. But we got to get rid of these you-know-whats. That is a college professor. You send your kids to college nowadays, that's the kind of vile learning that they're going to be exposed to. They're going to learn to hate their fellow man. They're going to learn to hate white people. If they are white themselves, they're going to learn to hate themselves. We're going to teach them all of this. And to what end, as Governor DeSantis would say? Is this going to make our society better? Is this going to make us? Is this going to improve our society? Absolutely not. This can only lead to one place, and that is interpersonal violence ultimately. And is that what they're pushing for? Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.